So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of this channel. I'm Abhishek Verma and now you have started watching another video of a Spring Data JPA series. In today's video, we are going to discuss about transactions in Spring Data JPA. So in the previous videos, if you have noticed, we have worked with the query by methods, query by annotation as well as the criteria API. But one thing was common, that in all these options, we were only doing the read operation. We were not doing any update or delete operation. So today, that is also we are going to do with the help of query by annotation. But believe me, it is going to be something bit different and you will find it very helpful. So without wasting any more time, let's directly get started.
So now we are in our IDE guys, and as always, first of all, let's do a quick recap of the demo which we created in the previous video. So in the last video we made demo number 7, so let's go to its UML diagram. And there, if you remember, we were having the demo class, which was our main class. From there we were having the service layer, owner service and the pet service, and then we were having the implementation classes also. Then in the last video we took help of the criteria API. So here, as you can see, that besides the simple owner and the pet repository, we are having this custom owner repository interface, custom pet repository interface, and their implementation also. So this we need to do whenever we are taking help of the criteria API. But in today's video, we don't need all that particular part, so that is not going to be there. Plus, we are also not going to have the pet service or pet service IMPL. We are only going to work with the owner service and owner service IMPL. Then besides this, we were having the owner mapper, pet mapper to convert the data from DTO to entity and vice versa. Then we were having the exception classes also. We were having the input util also. Then if we come below, then here we were having the entity class. So owner and pet entity was there, both of them having one-to-one relationship, which is bidirectional. Under pet, we were having domestic pet and the wild pet. For the primary key, we were taking help of the base. Base was our mapped superclass. Then beside this, we were having the enums for gender and pet type. To the UI, we were not returning the entity. Instead, we were returning the DTO classes. And these DTO classes, so within them, I have made usage of the Lombok to make the things simple. So currently it seems that okay, this is two big things, but believe me, it is very simple guys if you know Lombok, and we have covered each and everything in detail in the very first video itself. Yeah. So as I mentioned, for today's video, we are not going to have the owners, the pet service IMPL. Then pet not found exception is also not going to be there. Pet mapper is also not going to be there, pet repository and everything related to pet, these things, mapper, repository service, these things are not going to be there. Entity and DTO is going to remain as it is same. Then besides this, we don't need to go through the all the methods, all the options which we saw in the last demo, because for today the options are going to be completely different. So let's directly jump to our today's code. Now here, as you can see, I have copy pasted the most of the things from the previous demo only, but let's see what are the new things here. So first of all, we will go to this input util. So here in the input util, if you see, we are having 6 options today. The very first one is fetch owner details. Now for this one, you will say that okay Abhishek, you have already shown us so many ways to fetch the owner details by ID. So what you are going to do today with this? Believe me, I'm not going to do anything today with this. It's only going to be for us, for our help only. Yeah, so that in between, whenever I want to fetch the data, I can make usage of it only for that purpose. Yeah. Then the next one is update pet details of the owner. So this is also going to be exactly same which we saw initially when we made the Spring Data JPA video. So it is going to be exactly same. Then this pet update pet details of owner with the new repository method. So as the name suggests, new repository method. So this is going to be something new which we are going to do today. But without instead of directly jumping to that particular part, we need to understand first two also. Yeah? Then we are having a method of delete owner details. So this is again same which you have already seen in the previous videos. Then we have delete multiple owners with a new repository method, and then it is without a new repository method. So again, these two operations are also new. So out of these total 6 operations, first 2 are same, fourth is same, you have already seen them, third, fifth and sixth are going to be new. But if I will directly show you them, you won't understand the context, so hence we need those other helper options also. Then here if we come down, so you will see that this method you have already seen, accept owner ID to operate, accept pet details to update. So it will just take the new name for the pet. Then here we have another method which is going to accept multiple owner IDs. So here we are going to accept multiple owner IDs, and we will again keep on asking the user how many IDs they want to enter, and from here we are going to return the list. So this is how it is going to work. Then from here you see this is a demo. We are having all these cases one by one. So let's directly jump to this owner service here. So here I can show you. So as I mentioned you, today we don't have anything like pet service or pet mapper, all these things. So this first method you are aware. So let me directly show you the implementation then. That's more better. So here if I take you, this first method, as I mentioned, this you already know. So what it is doing, you say find owner, we simply ask find by ID. Here I'm making usage of the default method which I'm getting from Spring Data JPA. So that I convert it to owner DTO. If case the owner is not found, so we are throwing the exception. You have already seen, so that's why there is nothing new in this one, nothing much to explain. Then the next one is update pet details. Now for this also you have again already seen in the previous video, and believe me, I remember that was demo number 3. There we made Spring Data JPA and there we have exactly coded the same thing. So if you don't remember, let me just take you here and see this exactly same thing, update pet details. Yeah, so that is nothing new in this particular one, but here we just need to revise this concept, that what we were doing. So in order to update the pet details, we were first of all invoking the method find by ID. It used to return us the owner. In case owner is not available, we used to throw the exception. If owner is available, we used to say get pet and set the name. And then I told you that in Spring Data JPA, we don't have any direct method as such for updating the things. Okay, we are having direct method for finding with the help of primary key, saving the complete entity, deleting with the help of primary key, but there is nothing for the update, because the reason was very simple. I mean, it is your choice what you want to update. So someone may just want to update the pet name, someone wants to update the city, state, or something like this. So it wasn't possible to create a method for this by Spring Data JPA. So what they told is that you do something like this and then you simply say save. Yeah, so here save will automatically take care that if this particular entity is a new entity, so it will be saved. Otherwise, if it is an existing one, only some data is updated, so only that particular data will get updated in the database. So this is how it was working. Then this is a new method which we are going to do today. As of now, this is not working, hence I'm throwing the exception. Then we are having this delete owner also. So in delete owner, I'm just making a small change here, that we remember that there is some method like exist by ID also. So here we are just checking whether this ID exists or not. If it doesn't exist, we are throwing the exception. If it exists, we are deleting it. Yeah. So here I don't need to find the owner as such. So I just made usage of exist by ID. Then there we are having two more methods, delete owners and this thing. Again, these going to be new methods. So we need to implement all these methods. Yeah. So this is how our owner service IMPL is going to look as of now. Yeah. So 3 methods already implemented. You also know 3 methods which are not implemented and that we need to do today. So first of all, let's focus on this update pet detail, guys. Yeah. Now here the thing is, if we say update pet details. So now I don't want to make usage of this save method. What I want is that I wish to do something like this. So this part I wish to do as it is. Let me just copy this part and let me just paste it here, something like this. And again, I need to say here Control Shift F so that it works fine. So this is how it is looking. So this I'm fine that I can do something like this. I'm finding if owner is not there, I will throw the exception, else I will get the owner. Now what I want is I want to create a method in the repository. So what I wish is I wish to do something like this, owner repository. So let me just write here owner repository, and then I wish to invoke something like this. Not there. I mean, that's an issue which keeps on happening again and again. And here I wish to provide these two details, owner ID, comma, pet name. So I wish to have it something like this, that in the owner repository I want to create a method. Now you will say, okay Abhishek, there is no issue in that if you want to create something like this. Okay, there is a small issue that instead of this owner ID, what we want to return is the pet So this particular one, so we will be giving it like this, get pet. So let me see here, get pet, and I can say it like this, get id. Yeah, so we can even do like this. So I want to provide the pet id and the pet name. So these two things I want to provide there. Yeah. Now you will say that, okay, Abhishek, it's not a big deal. So what we can do is we can go to the repository interface. So let me just copy paste this complete method. So I'm copying this, and let's go to this repository here. So yeah, here we are. And what we will do is we will create the method. So from this method, which looks something like this, I don't want to return anything. It is just an update method. So return type I can keep as void. And in the arguments, what I wish to pass is I wish to pass a pet ID, something like this. And another thing is the pet name. So something like this, guys. Yeah. So this is how we can create. But the point is here we can't make usage of query by methods, because if you remember, query by methods always start with the terms like get by, read by, or find by. But I want to update something. So can I make usage of query by annotation? The answer is yes, we can make usage of query by annotation. So let's quickly write a query for this. Yeah. So I will be saying query, control shift O here, and within this, let's provide a query. So this is the one. Yeah. Now, how this query looks like. So we will say here update, and then we will say pet p. So we want to update the pet. Then we wish to set the name of the pet. So this is going to be the case, set this name, and here we give something like this, that is pet name. So this way we are setting the pet name, and now we have a where condition. So in the where condition, we will say p.id equals to something like this, and here let's say pet id. So this is how it is going to look fine, and you will say, yeah, okay, this is going to work. So let's see whether it is going to work or not, guys. So for this, I need to execute the code. So let me just click here and say execute. Let's see whether it is going to work or not. Yeah, see, I mean, it was so simple. So why do we need to create a separate thing for this? Yeah. So it says, okay, dialect and something not found. I remember it's the same issue which we have faced in the previous also. So let me just go here in open config. So for previous one, if you remember, we gave these things. So I will say control A, copy, and we will come here, and here we are going to paste. You will say, okay, Abhishek, every time you show us a new different way. So yeah, that's the benefit of watching my videos. Every time you will see a new way of setting those prime environment variables. Yeah. So this time if we see, so you see it is working fine. Yeah. So here this is the thing, and it is showing us all the options. So first of all, let's quickly execute one. So for this one, I will say enter ID 10. So I have updated my database, and in my database now all the 72 owners exist. So I will say 10, and for this 10, currently the pet name is, you can see the pet name is Oscar. Yeah. Now, okay, this is fine, but that was not the goal. Now, first of all, let's try to update the pet name with the default thing, which we already know that how that particular thing works, this 2. Yeah. So for this 2, if I say 10 and let's say test. Yeah. So let's give, so this is working fine. And to have a proof, we will again say 1 here, and we will say 10. So let's see whether the name is updated or not. So you see that pet name has been updated to test. So this means the existing thing, the older one, which is going to look something like this here, update pet it is. So this one is working absolutely fine. Now what about this one? So let's give it a try. So here let me again bring this up, and this time I will say that, okay, we want to update pet but with the new repository method. So I will say y here, and this time I will go with the option 3. Yeah. Now again I will say the same 10 only, and this time let's give it as test 2, because second time we are going to update. Yeah. So when I say test 2, what happens is that it is giving me some kind of exception. And what's the thing? It says that it was expecting a select query in that particular thing. Okay, but you gave this update query. But the point is that the thing is that we want to update the thing. I mean, if I want to update something, why I will give a select query? So that simply means that when you will just provide update or any delete kind of query within this @ query, then it is not going to work. And that's why we call it as query by method or query by annotation. Because when you simply say query, you want to read the data, you don't want to change the data. Okay, so in that case we say yes, it is a query, we want to make usage of this annotation, but now we also want to modify the database. Okay, so here we will say modify. This is again coming from Spring Data JPA, this annotation. Yeah, so that's why today's tutorial was important. So now let's again have a quick run for this and see. So I will just execute this one. So let's go there, and now let's see what will happen. So again I will simply say 3, I will give ID as 10, and I will give name as test2. Okay, till now the name hasn't been updated, so let's give it. And yeah, again still there is an error, guys. I mean, see, that's an issue. Now it says that you are executing an update or delete query, and yeah, it is fine, I'm executing an update query. So what's the issue? It says the issue is that transaction required exception. So now try to understand, whenever we want to make some change in the database, so that means a particular transaction is required. Yeah, if you remember that, if we go to this particular demo 2 also, where we were doing the things with the help of Spring ORM, so at that time also you see that whenever we used to save something, or we used to something do like this, update something or delete something, we used to take help of this transaction. Okay, but when we are just providing this query as such, so currently there is no transaction. Okay, so hence whenever you are trying to update or delete something, so besides @query, you also need @modify, because you are telling that okay, this is not a select query, I want to modify something. Now when you want to modify something, you also need to create a transaction, and that can be simply done with the help of this transactional. Okay, transactional. So let me just write the complete thing like this, transactional. Okay, so yeah, this is going to look something like this, Control Shift O. Now you are having two options. Should we take the transactional from Jakarta, that is JPA, or should we take it from the Spring Boot? Since we are working in the Spring Boot, so we should be taking from the Spring framework. If you are not working with the Spring Boot or Spring, then you should be taking from Jakarta. So let's go for this one, and yeah, this is how it is going to look, guys. Yeah. So here we are seeing transaction. Now let's quickly do the same thing again, and let's go there again. So this time, so again, first of all, let me say 1, and let's see what is the current name. So the current name is test here. Yeah, so as you can see, it is test. Now let me say y this time, and now I will say 3 here. Yeah, so when I say 3, I will say 10, and now I will say test2, and yeah, see now what it is doing. So internally it is actually doing many more things. Okay, so it created some temporary table also, then updated the table, dropped the temporary table, but you don't need to worry about all those things. The main thing which you need to think is whether it has actually updated or not. So let's verify it. Yeah, so we will again do like this, we will say 10, and now you can see that the current name is test2. Yeah, so that means it is working fine. So what we understand from this is that whenever you want to update the database, then you are having two options. First option is you simply do like this, and you take help of the default save method. Okay, but then this save method you are doing, and with the help of this save, you can update many more things. Yeah, so here I can update the pet name, city, and all those things. So that is one way. When you do save, it is very simple. But in case if you want to create your own query, then you need to make usage of @query. You can't go for query by method, only query by annotation is an option. Then you also need to tell @modifying to tell that okay, here I'm not going to provide any select, it is either going to be update or delete. So @modifying is mandatory, and you need to provide a transaction also, a transaction context. So you need to say @transactional. Okay, so this is mandatory here, guys. Yeah, now one more small thing which is mandatory and as a good practice. So in currently we don't see any error, but if you go to this modifying, so you see in modifying it says there are two options, flush automatically and clear automatically. So let's try to understand what it is trying to say. So this flush automatically, by default it is false. Yeah, so what it says is it defines whether we should flush the underlying persistence context before modifying the query. Okay, so what happens, let's say that currently I'm the only user who is executing, but in the real world so many users will keep on hitting the APIs, and so many multiple operations will keep on happening concurrently. Now when so many operations keeps on happening concurrently, what you want is that before your query gets executed, whatever is there in the persistence context, if you remember, it is just like a cache only, primary cache. Okay, so whatever is there in the primary cache, first of all it should get saved in the database. So by default it is false, but always as a good practice, so even if it is not giving you an error, then also you should always make it true, guys. Yeah, and that is one of our best practices we say here. Second one is clear automatically. What it is says, it says that now since you have made some change in the database, okay, so there can be still something available in the persistence context. Yeah, so we should be updating that particular data also. So whenever you want to update that particular cache, so there is no simple way to update the cache. So what we can simply do is we say clear automatically, that whatever is there in the cache, clear it. Okay, so that we are trying to do here. So again, as a good practice, we should do something like this. Yeah, so that if there is anything related to with this particular ID, it gets cleared. Otherwise you will see that there is some issue in the database. So while modifying, you should always make both of these things as true. Yeah, so this we saw. Now let's move on with the next part. So the next thing, currently the code is still running, and in case if it is still running, so let's quickly go here and let's say y this time, and now let's say 4. Okay, so now when I will say 4, so this delete owner method will get executed. Yeah, so let's try to give id as 10, and yeah, it has deleted the id 10. Now if I will say y and I will try to search for this id 10, it will give me the exception and it will shut down the application. Can't find owner with owner id 10. Okay, because it has been deleted. And here this is one of the ways. So what we are doing, we are just checking whether it exists. If it doesn't exist, simply throw an exception. Okay, otherwise delete it. So now the next thing is, what if we want to delete multiple owners? So in case if we want to delete multiple owners, then believe me, we can't make usage of this simple delete by ID. Okay, because it is just going to accept one ID. So what we want is, we want to have something like this. So let me just copy it and let me paste it here in this particular way. And I wish to create a method like this, IDs. Yeah, here also I will give it as IDs. So it should be delete by IDs. So this way I want to create a method. Again, you will say that, okay, Abhishek, this method is not there, so we need to create. Yeah, no worries. So we will again go here and let's create this particular one. So I will say void, because again, I don't want to return anything. And in the arguments, this time I want to accept the list. So I will say this integers, and here I will say owner IDs. Yeah, so this is the one, Control Shift O, and yeah, I will say finish. Yeah, so this is how it is going to look like. Again, for this, there is no method like this delete by IDs, only delete by ID is there. So we need to copy this, and I mean, we don't need to basically copy the complete thing. I just need to provide this query on my own now. So I will say here delete, and then I will say from, then I will say owner O, then the condition comes, that is where O dot ID, then I will say in, and here I'm going to say owner IDs. Okay, so this is how it is going to look like, guys, owner IDs. Yeah, and now again, see, again let's try to remember that since this time it is a delete query, so only if I will write something like this, it is not going to work. It will say that, okay, it should be something select, and hence I should be adding modifying. As a good practice, I should be saying flush automatically true and clear automatically true. Then it will say, okay, no transaction is available, so I need to provide this particular transaction also here. So let's provide this transactional something like this. Yeah, so this is the way. Now something which I want to tell you here is that in case, like in current my scenario, you see that on both the methods I'm providing @transactional. So if you feel that in your interface or in your class, if all the methods needs transactional, then instead of repeating this annotation on all the methods, what you can do is you can simply provide this annotation on the interface level. So that is something which you can do. As of now, we are not interested, so let it be like this only. Yeah, only two methods are there. So this is working. Now let's see whether it is going to work or not, guys. Okay, so again, this was very simple. So let me just execute this 8 again. And what we will do is, so just to have you a proof that my things are working, So we will first of all go to this database, and currently this is how my database is going to look like. So let me just give an update, and yeah, so you see there are IDs from 1 to this particular 72. In between, one ID got deleted, hence you see there are only 71 rows. Let's see which ID got deleted. So ID number 10 is not there, but all other IDs are there from 1 to 72 except 10. So let's go to the database, and here we are. So now I will say fifth option. Yeah. So here first of all I need to provide the IDs. So let's start from 11. So we will say 11, and yeah, it says do you want to continue? Yes, I wish to continue. Now I will say 12. Do you wish to continue? No, I just want to delete only 2. I will say no. And yeah, what it will do is it will execute this query, and it will say deleted owner with owner IDs 11 and 12. Let's have a proof whether it is working or not. Now since this time we are deleting multiple IDs, hence again and again I'm taking you here. Yeah. So now you see that ID 11 and 12 have also been deleted. So that means this is working fine, whatever we created. But let's execute it again. Now this time again let me say 5 here. Now this time 11 and 12 were gone. So now let me say 13. Yeah. Let me say Y, and now let me say 99. Let me say Y again, and now let me say 14. Yeah. So now this time I'm having 3 IDs, 13, 99 and 14. So that means these 3 IDs will go there. So if these 3 IDs will go there, so I'm not doing any kind of check whether these IDs exist or not. I'm directly passing. Since I'm directly passing, directly it will go to this particular query, delete from owner O, and the condition is in. So what do you think what will happen? Will it delete all the 3 IDs? Will it throw us some kind of exception, or what is going to happen? You can pause the video and tell me in the comment section. Believe me, it is very, very important because it is going to enhance your understanding for this particular logic. Yeah. So now if I execute this and I say no, so what it will do? It will tell me that it has deleted all these IDs 13, 99 and 14. Because this is just, it is reading in the starting part. Whatever IDs I provided, it is just writing me there. But in the reality, we know that there exists no ID like 99. So how this delete query works in this particular case is that here we are passing 3 things. So what it simply does, that if ID is there, it will delete. If ID is not there, it is ignore. Same way select also works. If ID is there, it will show you the data. If ID is not there, it will return null, and something like this. So there is no exception in this particular case. Yeah. But it is going to provide me a wrong information here. Okay. So let me just see whether it has actually deleted 13 and 14 also or not. So if I go here, currently 13 and 14 are there. Let me just refresh the database. Now you see 13 and 14 are not there. Directly 15 is available, and that is Chandigarh. Yeah. So that is also deleted. So the thing is that what if, like many times what happens is that you want that, okay, either it should delete everything, whatever I pass, or it should not even do anything. Okay. Which means you want your full transaction, you want your full operation to be atomic in nature. But with the help of this delete query, something like this, we can't make it atomic, because how this in works is that if ID is there, it will select, it will delete. If ID is not there, it will simply ignore the thing. Okay. So I want that if it is not there, then it should throw me the exception, and it should not even delete 13 and 14 because one of the IDs was not there. Okay. I mean, it should not happen that, okay, you are trying to, like whenever you go to the ATM, let's say, and you say that, okay, I want to withdraw 1,000 rupees. So it should not happen that, okay, it says that, okay, since you don't have 1,000, so I'm just giving you 900. Okay. It should be either 1 or 0. That if 1,000 amount is there, it should be, you should be able to withdraw that amount. Otherwise it should say that, okay, you don't have the amount, so that next time again you can enter the thing on your own manually. Okay. So we want something like this. So what we will do is we are not going to use this time, and instead what I wish to do is that, again, let's do a check again and again. So I will go for this particular one, and here I will say for an integer. Okay. So integer owner ID, something like this, and owner IDs. Yeah. So this particular one, and within this I will copy this logic. Okay. So this logic I'm going to copy, or what I can simply do here, guys, is instead of copying the logic, or as of now let's copy the logic. I was thinking to simply call the method. Yeah. but as of now, let's make it simple. So I have just simply copied the logic. So now what it will do, if I will provide the ID and if it doesn't exist, it will throw me the exception. Fair enough. So I will give first ID, it is there, then it will delete. I will provide second ID, it is not there, it will throw the exception. Yeah, and then it should roll back the complete thing. No IDs should be deleted. That is my goal. Either delete all the IDs or don't even delete anything. Yeah. So let's see and see how it is going to work. So I have again restarted it. So after restarting, okay, it's not yet started. Yeah, now it has started. Yeah. So let's see how it is going to work this time. So now let's say 6 here. Yeah. And if we say 6, so currently, first of all, let's see, we were having IDs, I guess, starting from 21. So let's focus on them. So I will say 21. Why? And now let's say 22. As of now, let's give only 2. Let's see whether it is actually working or not. Let's say N. And yeah, we see it is working. It has deleted these 2 IDs. We will go to the database. Currently, you see 21 and 22 are there. If I do this, then it says 21 and 22 are not there. Yeah. So this means it is working. Now, let's again come back here. Let me say Y, and again let me say 6 here. This time I will say 23, something like this. I will say Y. Now I will say 99, and I will again say Y, and now I will say 24. Yeah. And now what will happen? 23, 99, 24. What do you feel what is going to happen this time? We are making usage of this method. So again, you can pause the video, you can tell me in the comments. So what I feel is that first of all, it should try to delete 23. Then it should say that, okay, 99 is not found. Now, since 99 is not found, it should roll back everything. So 24 should not be deleted. 23 also should not be deleted because it should get rolled back, and it should just simply throw us the error. So let's execute. So again, say no. So yeah, it threw us the error that can't find owner with owner ID 99. Let's go to the database, and in the database, what we see is that 23 has been deleted, 24 is there. So now this is even more problematic, guys. Okay, so we gave 3 IDs. First ID was there, it got deleted. Second ID was not there, throw the exception, and fourth, it didn't even went till that particular logic. Okay, but I don't want to do something like this. I want that it should not even delete 23. Okay, so I want a transaction on the whole thing. So by default, why it happened something like this is because by default there is transaction only on this method, only for one ID. So 23 was there, so it got deleted, one transaction over. Then next again second transaction started. For 99 it was not there, so exception was thrown, and 24th turn didn't even came. Okay, but I want a transaction on the full thing. So what I can do is this time I can give that transactional annotation here itself. Yeah, so the same annotation which earlier we were using on the repository layer, we can also provide the same thing on the service layer, because this method is being provided by Spring Data JPA. So now I want to say that this whole method, so all the IDs within this is one transaction. Okay, so that is my one transaction now. Now let's see whether it is going to work or not. Yeah, so this time let's again see and let's have a look. So we are again here, let's say 6, and let's start with 31 now. So 31, and let me say Y, let me say 99, let me say Y, and let me say 32. Yeah, and now let me say 9. Now what should happen is it should not delete any of the IDs. So let's see. Again, it is throwing the error. So this was expected. I hope that it has not deleted anything. So yeah, currently 31 and 32 is there. Let me just refresh the data. So now you see 31 is not there, 32 is still there. That means it didn't work, guys. Okay, so still what it did was it was deleting this first ID. Yeah, and then for the second ID it was saying there is an exception, but that means this @ transactional didn't work for me. Why so? Because let's go inside this and see how the things are going to look like. For this we just need to look for something like where it is. So here, yeah, so there is something like this rollback 4. So what it simply says is that by default, it is a transaction will be rolled back only on a runtime exception and error. So only if there is a runtime exception or error, then only it will get rolled back. If there is something like checked exception, then it won't get rolled back. and you see that our exception, that is owner not found exception, is a checked exception. So hence it didn't rolled back. Okay. So what we need to do is we will go here and let me just copy this thing. Let me come back here. So here I wish to give like this, and here what I will do is I will say owner not found. So let me copy, let me paste here and say dot class. Okay. So now this means that if there is any runtime exception or any error or this particular exception or the child of this exception, then if any of these things happen, then it will do a rollback. So now let's see what it does. So let's again go here and let's again do the things. Yeah. So let's see here, sixth option. Let's again this time let's give 41. Yeah. And let's say y, let's say 99, let's say y, and now let's say 42, and now let's say n. Yeah. So this time you see it is throwing me an exception that can't find owner ID with 99. Let us go to the database, and currently you see 41, 42 are there, and it is Jaipur and Hanumangarh. So do let me know if anyone is from there. So now you see that even after executing this, so I have executed this, but still this data is there, 41 and 42. So now it is working fine, guys. Okay. So this is what you need to do. So here my goal was just to show you what all different options are there. Okay. So by default, it only rollbacks for runtime exception and error. Many people feel that, okay, why my transactional is not working? This is the reason. Yeah. If you wish, you can provide an array of exceptions also here. That is also going to work fine. So what we learned today is basically, if I just do a quick repetition. So first of all, when you want to have something like update or delete query by annotation, then you always need to go for the annotations like @modifying and @transactional on your repository layer. Along with your @modifying, you should use flush automatically true, clear automatically true. This annotation, if you wish, you can provide here also. If you wish, you can provide on the service method also, whichever is calling. But better in such scenarios to provide here only. Yeah. Then beside this, if you wish, you can also have your transactional annotation on the service layer, on the service method. Then you can say full method is a part of a transaction. There is one transaction for the whole method. Yeah. And within this, by default, it will roll back only for runtime exception and error. If you wish, you can roll back it for your own custom exceptions also, which are going to be checked exception. Another point is, in your class, if you feel that all the methods need @transactional, then instead of repeating again and again, you can put it on the class level, on the service level, or the repository level. But always, as a good practice, what my understanding says is that you should always keep it separately on your method level, so that you can decide for which you want to roll back, what you want to do with this, and something like that. Okay. So hence in today's video, we understood about transactional in Spring Data JPA. I hope you found it interesting. I hope no else YouTuber is going to show you in detail something like this. So for that, I hope you can like the video, share it with your friends, and see you in the next video, guys. Bye.